All right, so today is Google Sites, and it's not the right one, of course, because I just had the one that I wanted. There it is. So I have my Google site up here. This is just a little embed. We're gonna start by how do you get to your Google Sites? So Google Sites are an application that you have in your Google Apps. It's in your Waffle. So if you go up to your Waffle and you click on your slides, or I'm sorry, sites, geez, oh man, I've got all kinds of stuff on my brain today. Sites. If you click on sites, it looks like a little blue icon with a white piece in the corner. You're going to open it up. It actually takes you to the old Google Sites. In order to get to the new, easy to use one, you're going to go to the left and you're going to click on New Google Sites. I have to tell you, since they created this, is probably one of the easiest platforms I have ever used. If you have all of your documents, all of your Google stuff, this would probably be the best way to share it. We had students that created, down here in the corner, they created their own portfolios that they could share with universities for things that they've done. So there are many ways to use Google Sites, not just for yourself. So in order to get started, you're going to go to the bottom right-hand corner. You have this plus over here that's a circle. You're going to click on it, and it will open your new page. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to give your web page a title. And come on. I'm going to call this Google Certification 2020. Not only do you need to give a title here, you need to give a title in the top left-hand corner, because this is actually the name of your site. Up in the top left-hand corner. And you can see as soon as I typed my name and hit enter, it popped right here at the top and says Google Certification 2020. That is the name that people would use to find my Google site. You have some options right here with how this is set up. Header type. Header type is, right now it is, it was set to title. I made a large banner. You can have just a banner, or you can have just a title, or you can create a cover. A cover would have no other information pretty much on here. It would just take up the whole page, and then at the top would be your different pages that students or parents would get to. I usually use just the banner. It seems to be the right height for me, and I keep it at that. Now, it auto defaults to this gray background. Over on the right, you have some tabs. You have an insert tab, you have a pages tab, and you have a themes tab. First thing I always do is go to my themes page, because this is going to set up everything that the different colors that you're going to want to use for your site. So one of the things that I need to go over is being ADA compliant. So the American with Disabilities Act was set into motion a few years ago. They actually sued every single school district in Ohio for their websites because they were not ADA compliant. So there are some things that I'm going to go over today that talk about how you need to make this compliant. Google already makes the colors compliant for you, and you're going to see when you choose a theme. So once I have a theme, and then I can pick my colors with the paint bucket. So if I decide I want red, you can see red is my accent color at the top. If I choose purple, it is my accent color at the top. So you can choose whichever colors you want. You can make them whatever shade that you want. So I'm just going to make this one green for fun. If I go to my insert and I want to insert something now on my page, I'm going to choose a text box. When I go to do that, over on the left, every time you add something, you're going to have this palette. When you click that, it will actually allow you to have some choices for your backgrounds. When it changes your background, it changes the font to the contrast to allow whoever is seeing this that has a visual problem to see what you have up here. So just know that these are over here, that you can choose the different colors of the background. So if I wanted the next one to choose a text box, I can then go over to the color palette and maybe have a different color emphasis, and then it would translate back and forth. So I'd have a dark, a light, a white, a dark, a light, and then when I try to type here, it automatically changes the color to a color that I have to use in order to be ADA compliant. Is there a question, Rachel? Because my orange box is popping like crazy at the top.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So that was the first part of being ADA compliant. The second part of being ADA compliant is, what I love about this is you are able to when you insert, go into your drive and choose a document that you've already created to put in here. So if I go down here, one of the places I like to go to is recent, because if I choose recent, those are the most recent items that I have worked on. So it's going to take a minute to load. This is for today, this is our agenda that I have out there. It comes up with a set box size. You will need to expand this or make it the size that you want for the people that you want to have view this. If you just grab the little circles that are on the sides, it will let you conform this to whatever size that you want. Now, when a screen reader is reading this, if I actually go into my document and I hit this little arrow and it's going to open it up for me, this needed to be set up for ADA compliance. So if you have a title on here, you can see right here, it says heading. So when a screen reader would read this, it would read that it is the heading to the information inside of this document. And if you see, I clicked on the first row where it says welcome. This now says normal text. All of these things say normal text. Well, if you're like me, I taught myself Word, okay? So one of the things I'm famous for is hitting enter, 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 enter until I get to the next page. And then I would start typing on the next page because I didn't want it on this page. If you do that, your document is going to read enter every single time for that person that has a screen reader on. So when you do that, you just want to make sure that you insert a break. If you insert a page break, it automatically goes to the next page. And I know I probably should have known this, but it wasn't like I took a class in college that was for Word. We were never offered that. So now that I have my page break in there, if I start typing, come on, insert my page break, it automatically drops me down into the next page, and it doesn't read space, 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 space for all of this information that's in here for somebody that has a screen reader. So I just want you to be aware, because some people are submitting things to go out onto a website or for public information, just clicking this little, so if I choose this and I say, okay, so this is the title, it actually formats the text. I can still change it. I don't have to use the title format. I can use whatever shape that I want or size font I want, but I need to have that title because it reads that to the person that has a screen reader. So that's just what I want you to be aware for ADA compliance. So let's go back. Okay, so once I pick my theme and my colors, I pretty much have my template for everything that I want to have in here. One of the things that I like to do at the top is I don't like the pictures that are usually in the background. So one of the things that you're going to maybe want to do is change your image. So I can go up and I can select an image and it will open up, and I can go into my drive or my album or in a gallery, or I can just search by a URL if I happen to know what it is, or I can search images. So if I want something that is for Google, I can search and I'm like, oh, I really like this one. Now, the results right here, it says are labeled for commercial reuse with modification. So most of these that show up, you are allowed to use. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select that, and it's going to go ahead and it's going to put that image. Now you can see I have these little stars that show up. It tries to adjust it so people can actually read whatever's in there or identify what the picture is. If you have a picture that's too large or too small, it will be pixelated. So just be very careful when you put something in there and pay attention to how many pixels are going up there and what that's going to look like for somebody else. Now, I love that you have the back buttons at the top. So if you have something that you don't like, just hit undo. If you like it, just hit redo. One of the newest things that they came out with this year is once you're ready to publish, it will actually show you an old version and a new version of what you've been working on. So I'm going to put some information in here. And one of the things that I might want to do is put an image in here. So images are very easy to use. And again, you can upload or select. So I'm just going to select something that I'm going to search for. I'm going to put Google back in there. Nope, I just want Google. And I'm going to say I want this really cool Google image that looks like a LED light. So I'm just going to pick that. Every time you add something, it usually goes to the bottom of your screen. If you double click on your image, it will actually allow you to make it bigger or smaller inside of there. It's letting you resize. So if there's just a portion of the picture that you want, so maybe I just want the O's and the G, I can actually blow this picture up. So that's the only thing that shows up inside of there. If I decide that I don't want that, I double click on it again and I take it out. You also have the options to crop your picture. That was cropped, sorry. To uncrop your picture, I can add a link to this image. So if I wanted this link to go to the Google certification, I could actually go to the URL for Google certification level 1. I would copy the URL that's at the top. Make it back. Whoop. Sorry, I have my pop-up at the top. I got to move it to the bottom. I can't see my tabs. And I would click on insert a link and I would paste it right in there. So if anybody can, and it shows up right at the bottom. Now, if you find later you need to change this, you have this amazing little edit button right here, or you can throw away the link. To throw away the whole picture, you have to use the garbage can that is on the top of the image. If I want to move this to the top, it is just a drag. You will just click on it and you will drag it to wherever you want this inside of your web page. So if I want this in here, but I'm like, oh, that's just way too small, I can grab one of the corners and I can make this picture bigger. I just have to make sure that I make it proportional. If you don't make it proportional, it will automatically crop the picture for you by itself. So I've added my little picture in there. Now I can also move where these are inside my web page. So if I decide I want the Google Doc on top, if I grab the little dots that are over on the left, I can just slide this to the top. I'm gonna move it up one more time. Or I can just drag you down. Because technical difficulties. There we go. So just drag it to the bottom, and then I'm going to move this one all the way down to the bottom. And now I have my information in the order that I want to show it. I could also move this picture and put it over on the side. One thing that's really cool that I like is when you put something in here, when I go to move it, you see all the little lines that show up behind the image. That's going to kind of give you where you can place your images and what those sizes should look like and the spacing that you're going to have. One of the things that I suggest that you do is that on the bottom of your home page, because this page right here is your home page, you want to put your contact information. So I would put contact me with any questions. And then I would put my email address. Now, if this is not sharing something that you're going to share publicly, I don't think that that's something that you may need to do because it's only going to be your students who see this web page. But if this is going to be attached on your website for the school district, I'm going to suggest that you put that on the bottom of your page because nowhere on here do I have my name at the top. So nobody would know whose web page this belongs to. I do know that our school web pages at the bottom, it usually says contact the web publisher and their name. So if you're at East and you go to East web page, it'll say contact web publisher at the bottom and it'll have Joe's name at the bottom. So always just be aware that your name is not out here. You may want to put your contact information at the bottom of the screen. Okay. So one of the things that's required if you plan on being Google certified is you have to be able to add pages within your Google site. So right now, this is just my home page. This would be the landing page where people would go to take them to someplace else in my site. Over on the right, you have your Pages tab. This is where you're going to start adding your pages. There is a plus at the bottom, and you can see add new link or add new page. The new link will take you to your page to another site. You can link someplace else. And I will show you an example of that in a little bit. Right now, I'm just going to add a new page. Now, my home page is blue, so I know that I'm adding a new page underneath my home page. And I'm just going to put level 1. So this is going to be a level 1 for Google certification. I can see now over on the right, I now have a tab that says home and level 1. It automatically copies the same header that was already there on the home page. So if I would click on the home page, whatever I had there is in my background is now on my level 1 page background. If you decided you wanted to add a sub page under a certain page and not your home page, because a home page adds a whole page that will show across my top in the green right here. If I wanted to add a page that would drop down under level 1, I would need to go over to the dots and add a sub page. And I would put resources. So now I don't see that at the top, but my level 1 has a down arrow because it has a page within it. So now I have a resources page that's attached to level 1. So that is how you would add a sub page inside a certain page. So we're gonna work on this level 1 page. And for myself, sometimes I need to change the image in the background. So I actually remember sometimes what page I'm working on. For me, it's a trigger. It's something that I need is that each page usually has a different picture. That's how I associate it with what I'm looking at. But you can leave them the same. It doesn't matter. So we're going to go back to the insert tab at the top. And this is going to be level 1. And maybe I just want to say to them, click here for certification link. Ooh, and I'm not, my fingers are moving today. It's very slow. So again, I'm going to go out. I'm going to get the link, the URL that I want to share. I would copy that link, go back in. If I select the words that I'm using, you have a little insert link tab here. If I click on the insert link and I'm going to apply it and put it in there, it now shows up as a link. Some people don't realize that if there is an underline over under some words, it's usually a link. So I always type click here for a link. I give people a trigger to know that that is where they're going to find the information. My best friend is right up here, this wonderful preview box that we have here. So if I want to see what anybody else would see, I would click on the preview box. it actually gives you what it would look like on a cell phone, what it would look like on a tablet, or what it looks like on a computer. I think that's really ingenious. And then I can see what other people, how they'll see this. So it says click here for certification link. I can actually click on it and it takes me where I want to go. So I make sure that everything is correct. You can also go back and through the site that you've created and view it as though you're somebody from the public that's trying to view it. Now you need to be aware, if you do not share your Google Docs correctly, that will come up and say you do not have access. Since it's my document and I'm viewing it, right now I've only shared this document with people that are within access. So if I publish this on the internet, anybody that does not have an access email would not be able to see the document within here. It would show up with a frown face. So I just want you to be aware that if this shows up, this is not showing for people and they're telling you you can't see it, you need to go back into your document. In your sharing, you need to maybe say any, oops, I need to go to more, public on the web. Anybody that has the link, so anybody that can get to the link can view it. Make sure that you copy that and you get that link correctly into your website. And actually, once you do that, you don't have to copy the link because it's embedded. We embedded this one right in there. They can view it. So just make sure when I click the X, it takes you right back out and into your web page that you are working on. Now, if you have an area where you want to add, you have some things down here at the bottom. You have some collapsible text, table of contents, image carousel. It's really cool. If you wanted to create a bunch of pictures and have it rotate through like the front of our website, you can insert that with your images. You have a divider, you can add YouTubes, and you can embed your calendar. Those are all things that are one click within this website that it allows you to do. Okay, so one of the things that's required is Google Calendar. So yesterday we talked a little bit about Google Calendar. I do have to tell you, I kept saying to you, I'm missing, if you were here yesterday, I'm missing one of my 4. It was tasks. When I created the video, just so you know, I actually turned that off in my calendars and I didn't have it on, which is the reason why it wasn't there. So I just wanted you to be aware of why I had issues yesterday. I want to share this Google certification 2020 calendar that I made yesterday. You're going to click the 3 dots that are on the side and you're going to go into settings and sharing. So I'm going to share. I'm going to go down. I have to share. So your access permissions right here. Right now, if I share this calendar, only people with emails again and access are going to be able to see this calendar. Usually when I create a calendar for public view, I actually click the public view. I don't care if you're using your school email or your work or your personal email. If you click on my website and you want to see the information, I don't expect you to be logged in with your work email in order to see that. You can also choose on the side that I want people to see all the events, and I can just click get shareable link. So I'm going to copy that. And I really don't need to copy it because they have these nifty little calendar right here. So if I click on calendar and I go to 2020 Google certification, I'm going to click on it and I'm just going to insert it, and it automatically inserts your calendar. It automatically sets itself to agenda. I don't prefer that. I prefer the month view. So when you go into your settings, you have some options. Show title, show date. It right down here at the bottom, it says view mode agenda. I like to do it by the month. You can set it by week. You can set it by, like I said, daily agenda. I just personally prefer a month view so people can see what's happening. You're going to make sure you want to format this to fit inside here. So you want to stretch this however you want it to look. It doesn't have to be this big. You can put it on one side. You can move it around within your access area over here. It's all how you want this to appear. But again, they have it nice and easy for you. One click for your calendar, and you can put it right inside of there. The other thing that I like with your YouTube is it's one click, and I want uploaded videos. So here's the video yesterday for Google certification. I'm also going to select this and I'm going to add it in here. Again, every time that you add something, it drops it into its, at the bottom of the screen, into its own area. I want to move this. I want to put this beside the calendar. So again, all you need to do is drag and drop. Oops, I dragged it into the title. I apologize for that. There it is. And I took the title. So the one thing that happens, and I'm just going to do a little, that I found out that when I drop the video into the title, it connects it to whatever words are in there. So right now my title and my video are connected. And it took me a little while for this. So you have to actually click. So now see, when I click, I just have 4 dots on my video. That means that they're now separated. So I need to click at the top, and now I have the circles at the top. So now I can put that back at the top and I can separate the two. But I can tell you, when they attach to each other, you have to play with it a little bit in order to separate the two of those. So now I have my video next to my calendar. One of the only things that bothers me with this is that if I have something large on the left and something smaller on the right, I cannot choose where in this window right here I want this video to fall. It automatically stays at the top. And I've tried to figure out how to move that around, and I have not been successful on figuring out, like, if I want it centered, it will not do that inside the window. So I just want you to be aware of that. So I usually add a couple things to balance it out. So I may put a video here, and then I maybe put a picture underneath it, so it balances the whole window and the size of something that's in there. If you don't want a picture below it, you could insert some words, some text. So let's say that I want to move this text box. This is the box I want to move. So I'm going to put my directions in here, and then I'm going to start moving my text box to the top. And you can see I have the little dots here, so I'm just going to grab them and I can put it underneath there, and then I can actually make this a title or a heading. So it would give some information as far as what I need to do with this video here. So that is inserting your calendar and your video. Again, please be very careful. Make sure that you have somebody else view your website before you publish it, to make sure that everything that you've put on your website is accessible to other people. Because I can't tell you how many times I've posted things, that I do this often, and sometimes I'll make a mistake and I'll have somebody call me and say, hey, I can't see the document that you have up there. Hey, I don't have access to view your calendar. So again, my friend is the free preview button. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into preview. I want to see how people are going to view this when they get into it. I like it. You have the X down here on the right-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and I'm back into my editing view. So up here at the top, once you start working on your web page, maybe you don't want to be the only person working on this web page. Maybe you're creating a web page for your team of ELA teachers in your building, and you want to create one web page, and then there's a page on each of up here at the top for each teacher. You can share this with others, okay? And you can decide, again, how much access they have to it. So if I wanted to share this with Rachel, and I'm going to give her editing rates, she would get an email. Right now, you can see that this is a draft. I can share the draft that I have with specific people, or I can share this with anybody at Access, but I'm not ready to publish that yet. So I would just share this with Rachel. She now would have access to go in and move anything, change anything, add words, create any information that she would like to do. She can create her own page. There's a lot that two people can do when you're working together on a document. Now, one of the things that I told you that I liked was adding the the web page out. So we actually have a blog that's out on our website. But for March, in every month, you'll see that we have some QR codes and information on different things that you might be interested in. For March, we actually, I embedded the blog that we have available for you right now. So this is actually a blog, another website that I have embedded into our website that you can view for March. Now, I did not update this. This is the blog post that Greg did for air data in Tableau. It's a brand new one to view item analysis. It automatically updated. This was the one that John LaPlante had sent out about Remind. I don't have to do anything else with this. If I embed a website and the website changes, it's automatically changed inside of your website. So that's one of the things that I really like about embedding things into your website. I'm sorry, I'm just checking making sure that I cover everything that you guys need to have. So you can also, you have these 3 dots here. Just like your documents, you have your version history. So if you wanted to go back and see what this site looked at another date, you have the ability to do that, okay? In your settings icon, this is just giving you some information on how your site will appear. So I like everything at the top. I don't like it down the side. I don't have any logos or branding images. You can upload that if you have something specific that you want to your site. So let's say that you're at East and you want to have a golden bear and that's going to be your logo. You would want to add that into your setting areas. So that would be included on all your pages automatically. Publish is your last feature that you have, and you want to make sure that you have a few people view your site before you decide just to go and publish it. When you go to publish, I have not published it, so I actually have to give it an address. So if I call it, and you can't have it called something that somebody else has, like Google. I can't call this Google because there's probably already another site out there called Google. But I can call it Google Certification 2020. Can't do that either because I can't use Google. I'm sorry. So let's do this. ICSD. Whoa. ICSD Certification 2020. So this would be my website across the bottom, my link to how everybody would get here. You can also manage at the bottom who can see it. So when you do publish it, do you want it published publicly or do you want it published just to certain people at access when they're logged in? Okay, so when you're ready, you can go ahead and hit publish on your site. The one thing that you need to know is this still doesn't show you the live site. If you want to see your live site, I would copy the link. I would go into a new tab and I would paste it in there. And that's how everybody else would view my website. And I still have the option down here in the right-hand corner because I'm logged in. If I would like to edit this page, I can go in on the fly and I can edit this automatically at any time. So you can see here's my contact information at the bottom. Even though it's missing something, that's okay. And then here's my calendar. So if I would go out onto my calendar, and I'm going to go to Google Certification Calendar, and I would add something for today for my Google Certification Calendar. I'm going to save that. If I go out to my actual site, it should. I hope I shared the right calendar. It should show up on your site when you hit refresh. Come on, show me the money. It will show up. It may take a minute or two, but it will definitely show up. So that is kind of how you're going to view your Google site. You can't, I mean, you can go here to your preview, but sometimes when you're in preview, all of your links will not work. So you just need to be aware of that. I always copy the link and I go out and I view it as other people would view my site. I don't necessarily do that within my editing area. Now you do need to know that with your Google Doc too, anything that you change on this Google Doc, if I decide to change all the color, it will automatically change on my website. So as soon as you hit the refresh button, it should go in, and when it shows up at the bottom, you can see everything has changed to blue. So I don't have to go to my website all the time to change something on my page if I'm already doing it in my Google slide or Google Doc. Some people create agendas for the day. So if they just keep putting the agenda in, it will automatically change on your website for that day. If you use calendar, put your agenda on the calendar will automatically change every day. You don't have to go out to your website to do that because it's already done for you within the calendar. Rachel, do we have any questions?
Yes, we do. If you created a website under the classic version, can it be imported to the newer Google Sites templates without having to create it all over again?
That's a good question. I'm not sure about that. I would have to do a little research. I'm going to tell you when it first came out, I could not convert my old page over. So I'm just going to let you know when it first came out, I haven't tried to convert anything since then. They may have a way to do it. I will get back to you if you know who asked that question, and I will let you know. But I can tell you when it first came out, the old Google site was so difficult to use that I would imagine that it's not going to come over very easily. But I will research that a little bit for you. Are there any other questions before I
just thank you for that.
Okay. Okay, so I am going to insert another page for you. So I'm going to add another page, and it's going to say level 2. And I'm going to hit done. And if I wanted this level 2, and you can see it actually moved to the top. If I don't want it, I can actually reorder these and move it below level 1, and it changes it at the top. So you are able to reorganize the pages once you create them. If you have a page that you would like to use later, but is no longer needed, you can actually hide it. So I can go in and I can hide it, and it's still in there for me, and I can work on it and I can change it, but it doesn't have to be live in order to save it. So I actually have a bunch of pages within my website, if I go down to edit, that are hidden, that I may or may not use again. So if I go to my pages and I go to the bottom, you can see that they're all, these are hidden. These are not accessible to everybody yet. So you can hide them at any time and work at them and release them again. So if it's something that you have a website for, like say that you do a project on a certain topic in the fall and it just doesn't need to be up there all year, you can hide it and then you can bring it back up the following fall to use it all over again in your classroom. Is there another question? I'm just going to ask because my little orange box is popping up at the bottom.
Yeah, there's a couple questions. I remember you saying something about adding videos in a previous training to be ADA compliant. Is there something we need to do specifically, or does YouTube do it already for us?
So YouTube, if you're using somebody else's video, it is probably 99% of the time already ADA compliant because the closed captioning is probably already on the bottom. If you are uploading your own videos into YouTube, there is a setting that you need to turn on that will turn on closed captioning. Now, it will try to be prescriptive and put the words in that it thinks that you are saying, but you definitely need to watch in the editor, the video, and make sure that the words in the closed captioning match exactly what you're saying, because you can retype them if you need to. So if you are uploading videos into YouTube and you're sharing them and you want them to be ADA compliant and they're your own videos, again, closed captioning is an option in the YouTube Studio that you can put on. You just need to make sure that the closed captioning that it tries to be intuitive with is actually what you're saying. So it depends on if it's your video or somebody else's video. How about that?
Okay, and then we have Carol Childers says she has an old Google site and wants to know if it's compliant. She has a lot of information on the site. It's on the school website, if that makes any difference.
I would have to go in and check it, Carol, but Google, even before, made sure, I know your colors are compliant. The one thing that we had to have, if you were a web publisher, you had to be on a webinar, was all about the documents that we were uploading to our site. The documents that we're uploading to our site, when people are creating them, are not ADA compliant. So when they get uploaded, they are not ADA compliant. So I can go in and I can check it. I've looked at it quite a few times. I don't think there's a problem with it, but I can go back and relook. And I think I did that before you posted it anyways, but it's been a long time since I've looked at it.
If I make a website, how do I link it to my school site?
So you would take the link. If you remember when I opened this up for when I went to publish this, oh, and it shows you the draft. It shows currently it was blank. This is one of the new options I forgot that they have out there. This is the draft that I have and currently published. Anything that I've changed, because I added this level 2 page, I didn't have one before, so it's not showing me anything that I've changed. I would go ahead and hit publish. Okay, and if I want to see my site, I go to my link. I want to get my link, and I would copy that and I would paste it into an email and share it with your web publisher. If you do not know who your web publisher is, out on our website, under departments for information technology, one of the links is to web publishers. If you click on the web publishers, it tells you what the year, this is the correct year, it's 1920. They're listed all over here on the right. So if you don't know who they are for your school, they're listed here. Just email them the link and they can add your page to the school website. Again, that's out under departments and then information technology. And you can see there's a whole page for web publishers. I will change it just to say 1920. Woo. Do we have any other questions?
I don't see any yet.
Okay, so if you are creating a site, and some people create sites on their building or their location, one of the things that's cool is you can automatically add a map from Google Maps too. So I just want you to know all of these things down here. So if I want to say, so this is for Google certification and I created a form, I can just click on the forms. I don't have to go all the way through my Google Docs. It will take me directly to the last forms that I've created. So I want the webinar survey. It will actually drop it right in here for you. So you don't have to go through your Google Drive, which they have at the top. You can actually select the type of Google app that you want to check out. So if you wanted to add a slide, so I actually have a slide in here. The slide is on creating a site. It's right here. I would drop that in, and now I can have my Google slide. I can take my web survey, put that next to the Google slide, and that's in there if I want to view what that looks like. And one of the things that I love when you put in a Google slide is that all they can do is go through your slide. They cannot change it. They can't edit it. They can't see the notes at the bottom. They just can go through the slide as you create it. And you can see this is the section for ADA compliance. Oh, alt text. Look at that. And everything in here is a step-by-step on exactly how we got to this and how you create your Google site if you have any questions at the end. It's actually the link that's on the top of the title. If you click on it, it is a slide. But when you share it like this, people actually have access to your slide presentation. I can go in and they can click on it and see your notes at the bottom. When you put it into your site, like I said, I love how it's just a slideshow. They can only see the slideshow that you have. Is there another question?
Yes, if we create a site on our school account, what protection from hackers do we have if there are links to documents, etc., in our Google Drive?
Okay, well then that would be how you share your documents, number one. So if you share your documents only with people at Access, the public will not be able to see your documents. Now that's gonna kind of defeat your purpose if you're trying to share these documents with parents. So if you're putting homework up here that you want parents to see, you have to make them accessible to everybody. But you can also up here in your share button, if you're putting up Google Docs, you can go into the advanced, you can prevent editors from changing and accessing new people. You can disable the fact that they can copy it and use it. So you have some options within your documents that you can set in there before you even put them out there for other people. So you just want to make sure you have the correct sharing settings on when you're putting this information out there. As far as I know, since this is in your school account, this is definitely under like Gaggle. And if there's any kind of hacking that goes on, usually we catch it pretty quickly. A couple of emails in our district recently have been disabled because it looked like they were getting hacked and Access caught it beforehand. So if anything like this happens, Access is notified, and then you're usually notified if anything is even attempted in a school account, because there's so many restrictions due to students. So there is a lot of protection in there because you are using the school account. Do we have another question?
Yes, there are two.
Okay.
The first is, I created a web page last year. When someone tries to see it from the school website, it requires that they sign into Google first. Why is that?
That's because you have it set to, when you publish it, it is not published for the public. They have to be logged into their school account in order to view it. So when you would go into your, into your settings, okay? I'm in the wrong. Why am I in the wrong? I gotta publish this first. Is it already published? Come on. Should be under my, wait, okay, I know. So they can't see the whole site, or they can only see certain things within your site? Can you
Okay.
find that out? Is it their whole site or certain things within the site? Because if it's certain,
Oh, okay.
if it's certain things, if it's the whole site, they need to go up to the sharing with others. And right here, you can see this says publish anyone with access. You're gonna have to change that to anybody can view it. Anybody at all, not just Access. Access is gonna force people to go into their email to view your account. Is it their documents or is it the whole site?
As we wait for an answer from Martha on that, the second question is, are we able to add pages from workbooks to the site? I'm assuming we can't upload anything that is copyrighted.
Yeah, that sounds good. Tell her to get her stuff out or saved or whatever, because I think hers was supposed to be Holy Friday, Holy Saturday. We're
Okay,
supposed
wait, I'm gonna mute some people, so hang on.
to click Oludia.
Tiff, if you're talking, you muted yourself also.
I'm sorry. Apparently when I muted everybody that time, I muted myself. What was the question one more time?
Are we able to add pages from workbooks to the site? I'm assuming we can't upload anything that is copyrighted.
So I'm going to assume if you're uploading a workbook page from like McGraw-Hill, that you could actually do it as a link to the website and the student would have to log in to see that certain page. You could do it that way. If you're talking about something from Goalbook, because we pay for it, if you would share it just with people at Access, so this would mean that only students would see it when you go into that sharing. If it's only for people at Access, that means you're only sharing it with your students. That would definitely be allowable. I know that teachers are allowed to share things within their classroom, but not publicly. So if this was set up for a classroom and you're requiring them to log in with their email in order to see it, it's a very contained area. You can do it that way. That's how you can post post in your Google Classroom, like PDFs and things like that, because you're only sharing them with your class. And most of the sharing restrictions have to do with teachers can share with their class, but not for public. So you could not make your website public to everyone, only to your students when they log in.
Okay, we have an update on the first question. It's the whole site that cannot be seen without logging into their email. Her site has 3 pages.
Yeah, that's because she has it set to over here where you see the little icon with the person and it's just share with others. You probably have this published to anyone at Access. So if it's published for anybody at Access, or you have specific people, they have to be logged into their school account in order to see it. And that's what you would want if you have PDFs and things that shouldn't be shared publicly inside there. Now, if you don't care and you have anybody on the web that can find it, then you just want to change your setting to publish anyone can view or find, and they are able to see it and they don't have to log into their email account.
The question is that the default setting on our school account?
That is the default on the school account. It automatically only publishes to Access unless you change it.
Are there any other questions?
Okay, so I hope everybody was able to get some type of their Google site created. Again, it is very easy to use compared to other sites. Oh, one thing I have to get to, I didn't do embed, did I? Did I do embed, Rachel?
I don't think so.
Okay, so let me do that real quick before we get off. We only have a few minutes. So embed is actually a really cool feature. When you click on it, it asks you if you want to embed by URL or by embed code. Since they've updated it, I've had a harder time embedding things by embed code. So I have mostly gone with the URL or the site. So I'm just going to go to our blog page. And inside of there, I'm going to take the URL. And when you go to embed, it actually shows you what it will look like. So all I have to do is copy the website, the URL, and I can embed that into my site. So I'm going to pick the whole page. I want the whole page, and I hit insert. So now I can see that I have to format it a little bit, but my whole web page, as it gets updated, is inside of my website, and I can view that on how other people will be able to see that. But that's one way to embed into your website. Another way is usually inside of here, you have an embed code that people want you to take a look at. That is not coming over. I'm just telling you from my personal experience, has not been working like it's supposed to. I tried to do it 5 times with my blog, and it was just so much easier to copy and paste the link and embed something in there. It's too
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
We have 2 questions. Do we have to log in somewhere for attendance?
Yes. So there is a survey at the bottom of the agenda, and that is out on, sorry. That is out in the list of webinars. If you click here, this is the agenda, and you can open it and then take the survey. I can also put the survey into the chat room in a minute, if that's okay.
And then if you have other things that you need to do for your building, then we don't know about that.
I'm not
The
sure.
second question is, do you have to hit the embed tab before you did that?
I did, yes. So I clicked on the embed in the insert the embed, and then all I did was copy the URL. So if that's your question, so whatever website that I was on, sorry, I just copied the URL at the top and it embedded right into my website. I just took that, oops, I'm sorry. I copied it. I went in here and I just pasted it in here and it will insert right in there. I didn't need a special code, embed code to do that. Kristen, there wasn't a survey yesterday. Yesterday I took attendance through Google Classroom. I don't know if anybody has any more questions. We'll be on for a few more minutes. I did put the Google survey inside of the chat room. So if you click on the link inside the chat room, you can take the survey for your attendance.
Tiffany, is the 1 o'clock session the same session?
It is a repeat.
Okay.
It is.
That's what I thought.
Yep. It
Thank
is a
you.
repeat. You're welcome.